We are live for the running of the 11th annual Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And this is going to be the second crown jewel race of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series custom schedule season on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. We'll see if Greg Biffle can go on to win this race today. He was not able to win in the first crown jewel race, which was the Daytona 500 early in the season. In fact, the winner of that Daytona 500 was Tony Stewart, Hoosier native, going to try to win the first two crown jewel races this season. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're about to get into tonight's full race live stream with a live, realistic broadcast. As always, right here on the channel, whether it is the NASCAR video games past or present, this one, of course, in the past, or the real races on the weekend in the top 3 series of NASCAR as well. I will not be commentating any of the races this weekend because I will be on my way to Atlanta tomorrow morning. I will be driving there, so I won't get there until early to mid-afternoon tomorrow, and therefore, we will not be streaming tomorrow. We will not be streaming on Sunday as well, so no live commentary this weekend for the real races. The next live commentary for a real race will be next weekend for the Cup Series at Circuit of the Americas, so we'll have to wait another week. I'll be going to my 3rd race of the season, but thank you everybody for tuning in here tonight. Joshua Rumsey, I see you first in the chat, and let's get tonight's racing underway. Jeff Gordon will be qualifying, or will be starting on the pole. He is the inaugural winner of the Brickyard 400. He's going to try to get another one today. He actually won this race in real life in 2004. Green flag is in the air. We are underway. Biffle from the 14th starting spot with his teammate Kenseth underneath him. Have the work cut out for him on a very track position racetrack. And already he's going to put it in the wall off the exit of turn 1, and he's going to lose a bunch of positions as he's still stuck on the outside and losing a ton of momentum with that. It's like he's still going to be able to fight his way down to the bottom on the back straightaway as he cuts down in front of the 31 of Robbie Gordon, but Robbie Gordon drives it deep into turn 3, gets back to the inside of Greg Biffle. So an aggressive move by Biffle to try and move down in front of Robbie Gordon, and Gordon made an even bolder move into turn 3 to get to the inside. Biffle will cross Robbie Gordon over now off the exit of turn 4 to get back to the bottom of the 31. Side by side on the front stretch as Jeff Gordon will lead lap 1 in the Brickyard 400. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. This could potentially be a fuel mileage race today. We've seen fuel mileage races at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway before, both IndyCar and NASCAR. We're going to be right on the border of being able to make this on 3 stops today. We'll have to see who will be able to manage their fuel the best. We're coming off a caution-free race last night at the Bristol Motor Speedway in the Food City 500. It was our first caution-free race of the season. There's never been a caution-free Brickyard 400. The least amount of cautions in a Brickyard 400 was in 1995 in the second inaugural race where Dale Earnhardt Sr. went to victory lane. There was 1 caution in that race for 4 caution laps. So far, so good through the pack. Biffle to the inside of Rusty Wallace, going to side draft him a little bit down the back straightaway. Has the advantage on the inside line heading into turn 3. Bobby Labonte stays wide enough in the short chute between turns 3 and 4 as well. Biffle drives underneath the 18. Clears him off of turn 4. Daytona 500 winner Tony Stewart with a major block on Matt Kenseth. Labonte's still fighting hard on the outside of Greg Biffle. Little contact off the exit of turn 1. Saw some sparks flying in front. There's some contact out of the rear view as well of the 16. I think Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte made contact. You can see the skid mark on the side of the 18 car. Wallace got into him. Biffle side drafts Labonte. Make sure he wasn't going to get around. That was a power move, by the way, by Rusty Wallace to pass Greg Biffle on the outside. Contact between Wallace and Biffle on the front stretch. Biffle was sideways in the middle of the straightaway. He's lacking the downforce on the race car today and felt a little light in qualifying on the straightaways to try and keep that speed up with this track being mostly straightaways. 4 separate corners on this racetrack. Yes, the cornering matters, especially with it being flat, but you have to have that straightaway speed, especially to try and keep up in the draft before things get spread apart over the course of these long runs, as I'm sure we'll see at least a few today. Michael Crane, welcome to the stream. Well, I don't want to wreck today, even if I'm trying to go for the win. Especially in a season-long points format. We've had enough DNFs this year. We've only had 2, but I'd like to keep it that way. All the NASCAR games you've played, you've won 3 of the Crown Jewel races. The only one you haven't won is the Southern 500, man. Greg Biffle's really loose. See him get out of shape into turn 1 that time as well. Matt Kens and Tony Stewart side by side down the back straightaway for 9th place on the racetrack. We've seen some great Brickyard 400s on the channel. A lot of them coming in NASCAR Heat 5 and Heat 4 for that matter. The NASCAR Heat Series, we had some pretty good races. Brian Vickers nearly took out Greg Biffle in turn 4. Completely sideswiped him as Biffle was underneath him. And it made the move to the inside cleanly. NASCAR Heat 6. I mean, there is no Heat 6. If you're talking about the new NASCAR video game, it'd be NASCAR 21 Edition, and we have played it on the channel. But there is no NASCAR Heat 6. Biffle to the inside of Paul Menard. And now Menard just pinches Biffle off in turn 4. That was the same thing Vickers did the lap before. That's going to cause an accident one of these times. Especially at these high rated speeds. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Menard and Biffle running nose to tail. Biffle already made it to the inside of Menard once. He's going to have to try and do it again. He's underneath him into turn 4. Menard again trying to squeeze a 16. The 16 didn't quite hit the bottom perfectly either that time. Passing on this racetrack is already difficult as it is. You're going to see a lot of lack of passing for the lead, I'm sure, throughout the course of this race. We only had one lead change in yesterday's race with the going caution free. That was when Biffle had gotten around Dale Jr., the pole sitter, at lap 14. Biffle led 487 of the 500 laps yesterday. He has led just over 1,200 laps now on the season in the first 11 races. Trying to add to that total today in this 160-lap, 400-mile race, if at all possible. Furfur Express, welcome to the stream. Watson to the Browns, I did not see that. Big run for Biffle. Tony Stewart tried to block, and Biffle was already underneath him. Contact into turn one. Biffle's just not getting any room when he gets underneath these guys. I mean, Tony Stewart, even in the middle of the front straightaway, was trying to block Greg Biffle all the way down, nearly pinched him into the inside wall. Biffle under Michael Waltrip. A bit of contact there. Biffle up to 8th. Surprised these guys have made as much contact as they have in the first 11 laps, and for everybody to really stay, for the most part, fairly smooth around this racetrack. It's incredible to say the least. Spirit Airlines is the Motel 6 of the sky. Welcome to the stream. Is that bad? Just had a brutal flight. What was so bad about it? I flew Spirit Airlines the only time I ever flew, and I didn't have a bad experience, thankfully. I've heard bad things about it. Hopefully your flight wasn't too bad. Yeah, they had some pretty nasty storms going down in the Atlanta area today. It washed out all the practice. Biffle getting sideways in the middle of the straightaway. Did that earlier, too. Did it on his qualifying lap. The first qualifying lap on the back straightaway. Second lap was a little bit quicker to at least get him to 14th. Biffle has a run. Dale Jarrett's going to give him the outside. Biffle's already there, down the back straightaway as they head into turn 3. He's just going to have to drop in line back behind Jarrett again. Couple cars stuck on the outside lane and are ran right around. Matt Kenseth and then Dale Jr. Jr. was able to just pull to the bottom, though. Yeah, I was sprinkling on my way home from work. That was about it. Oh, that time Biffle gets into the side of a car underneath him, and it was Dale Jarrett in the 88. Got to the outside at a very rapid pace. And he did not time out the corner entry well at all. That was nearly catastrophic. I'm surprised the angle in which they were in heading into the corner and the contact that was made, that it didn't turn the 88 of Jarrett right into the wall, along with Biffle at that. It's like all 43 cars still rolling strong, at least 15 laps in. Jeff Gordon has led the first 14 completed laps. That last time by to the line after qualifying on the pole. Again, this could potentially be a fuel mileage race today. It is going to be very close on whether it's going to be a 3-stopper or a 4-stopper. That pit window is going to be between 36 to 40 laps throughout the course of this race. Yeah, I'm not going to be going to the truck or the Xfinity race this weekend, just going to the Cup race. Biffle to the inside of Dale Jarrett. Oh, skids the tires a little bit on corner entry. He's going to get around the 88 though. Now he's right in line behind Dale Jr. He got him loose. The good old intimidation button. That was an easy pass for Greg Biffle to get around Dale Jr. for 6th. Getting around 2 cars that lap. Jr. had a handful, that's to say it lightly. Did a great job holding on to that car just to keep it off the wall. You get that sideways on this flat and this fast of a racetrack, you're usually going to end up in the wall, but that was not the case for Dale Jr. Turn 4 that last time. So we have about a 4-car battle for 3rd between Elliott Sadler, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and now Greg Biffle has joined the fray. Remember, Kenseth and Biffle both started in row 7, 13th and 14th. And they have moved their way forward. Kenseth a little quicker than what Biffle did. Kenseth blocking his teammate now. Biffle swaying back and forth. Kenseth trying to hold on. They made a little contact. I think it was before they got into the corner. They were still on the straightaway. Speaking of contact, I think Harvick and Sadler might have gotten together in the short chute of turns 1 and 2. Harvick pulls out of line, trying to make that pass for 3rd again. I'm shocked Brady came out of retirement, but at the same time, I'm not shocked. Knowing his competitive nature, it doesn't shock me. But at the same time, it's like, how many more years is this guy going to be able to play football without being reinstated into a wheelchair? Biffle gets around Sadler. Drives under the 17 of Matt Kenseth as well. Kenseth going to give his teammate a little bit of room. Not much. He's trying to squeeze him and side draft him, but he raced him clean. No drafting help on the bottom, though, for Greg Biffle. All the drafting help's up high with Harvick, Kenseth, and Sadler. Biffle obviously has the bottom into turn 3. Slides up the track a little bit. Barely kept it off of Kenseth. Sadler now to the inside of the 17 to occupy that position. Biffle up to P4. I think Harvick got a little loose. Oh, they got tangled. Contact on the front straightaway. Biffle and Harvick got together. Biffle's going up to try and side draft the 29, and he nearly turned him. Not the way Biffle wanted to make the pass for 3rd. But he is into 3rd nonetheless. Would have retired as a rookie. Mikey, welcome to the stream. See if Biffle's got fast enough speed without any drafting help to try and move forward and catch up to Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon, who run 1-2. You can definitely tell the hardest car to pass is going to be that 24 of Gordon, or whoever's going to have the clean air advantage. In traffic, it's a little bit easier to pass, and you saw some swapping back and forth for position on Biffle's drive up to the third place spot after starting 14th. But Gordon started on pole. He still leads, even though Ryan Newman's been pretty much all over his back bumper, I would assume, since the very get-go and the drop of the green flag of this race. No ambitions of dying on the football field. Tom Brady, on the other hand, he may. Biffle does seem a little bit faster than at least Jeff Gordon, who leads this race. He is now down to about 9/10 of a second off the race lead. Ryan Newman in second place. Obviously, Biffle would be closing in on him as well. The problem is there is the fact that he could be getting held up by the 24. Biffle's definitely been on the looser side of things so far. The 16 team's going to plan on making an adjustment change when they have to make that first stop of the day. And just trying to get to lap 40 and make it 40 laps each run to hopefully be able to make it on fuel on just 3 stops in today's race. That's one thing with Ryan Newman running in second. He's going to be saving a lot more fuel than, say, Jeff Gordon, who is leading this race. That is the downside for Gordon. The odds of the race going caution-free to the end are slim to none. We have had one caution-free race. Again, it was last night at Bristol. So not only we're talking about a caution-free cup race, but we're talking about back-to-back caution-free cup races. And again, as I mentioned at the very start of the broadcast, that there has never been a caution-free Brickyard 400. Closest was 1995. We had one caution. Oh yeah, easily going to be able to make it. Greg Biffle just hit halfway on fuel at lap 25. Should be able to go pretty close to lap 50 before having to make his first stop. So I guess it's not going to be a fuel mileage race like I originally thought. At least unless we get a caution in a weird spot in this race. That'd be the only way we would really have a fuel mileage race. I'm shocked that Biffle's able to conserve that much fuel, despite the fact that he's not really saving. I mean, he's been pushing hard from the start to try and get up to the lead. Ryan Newman in second. Newman drops back off the exit of turn 2. Gordon pulls him just a bit. Huge head of steam, though, for the 16 and the 12 into turn 3. Newman going to do his best to try and make sure that 16 car does not get around him. Biffle looking low on the front straightaway. Newman going down low as well. Definitely doesn't want to lose second place if he can help it. And Biffle is there. He's underneath the 12. Side by side into turn 3 for second place. And Biffle is clear in the short chute of turns 3 and 4. Trying to get Gordon loose. Didn't happen that time. So Gordon has now led the first 27 laps of tonight's race. Biffle up to second place now. Newman is taking a long time trying to get around the 24. He was never able to do it. Now we'll see if Greg Biffle's going to be able to do it at all. Not going to be able to get a run that time. Caution's out, lap 28. Turns 1 and 2, our first caution in 2 races. And our first caution of the night in the Brickyard 400. An accident in the short chute of turns 1 and 2. Right off the exit of turn 1, Sterling Marlin and Jeff Green, a couple of Dodges get together. One for Chip Ganassi Racing, the other for Petty Enterprise. And I believe Brendan Gaughan actually ran into the back of the 43 as well. So a 3-car accident will bring out our first caution of the race today. Greg Biffle will pit this time. We'll see if the rest of the field is going to make their way in as well, as we are at lap 28 when the caution waved. Biffle will pit. Everybody else is going to be staying out. Well, this is interesting. 4 tires and fuel for the 16 team. Half a round of wedge going into the race car, and 2 pounds of air pressure going to get taken out. Major adjustments to try and tighten the race car up. He was a little bit free early in this race. Those were the words my high school coach told me when I told him I wanted to play it. I quote, "Boy, you'll die on that field." Sounds like he was pretty straightforward. Green flag back in the air. Greg Biffle was the only car on pit road during the caution. He is back to 43rd. Lap 32 restart. Now he does have, as far as green flag laps go, he's got about 28 lap fresher tires. So although passing's not easy at Indy, it's going to be a lot easier on 28 lap fresher tires than even tires. Especially knowing that he's already faster than the cars at the back of the pack as well anyway. 28 laps is not long enough to catch any lap traffic as well, so the field is right back to being bunched up single file once again. And assuming the rest of the field got similar fuel mileage to Greg Biffle, these guys are going to be able to go just past lap 50 before they have to pit. For some of them. Biffle all the way down near the inside wall. Nearly got squeezed by the 142 car. Into turn 1, side by side with the 142. Clears him in the short chute of turns 1 and 2 for 39th. Couple of checkups getting into turn 2 now as well. Biffle going to try to put another run together. Down to the inside of the 171 who tried to block. A lot of blocking going on down these longer straightaways at Indy today. Biffle to the inside of Jimmy Lane in the 169. Make the pass on him. Now, if we do stay green long enough, obviously Greg Biffle's going to be able to stay out of the pits a lot longer than everybody else, considering he pit, and he has 28 lap fresher tires, so he will get to the lead if we have a long enough green flag run this time, but it'll be based off of strategy and not actually passing the leader outright. which nobody has been able to do on Jeff Gordon so far through 34 laps. That's why qualifying on the pole was so crucial for Gordon. Fake Alex Bowman, welcome to the stream. By the way, Joshua said that there was going to be 2 cautions today. Harvick's going to be your pick to win on Sunday. Interesting. Ooh. Big chop off by Scott Wimmer. He didn't realize the 16 had a nose underneath him. Billy Kramer says 3 yellows. Well, we're going to see 3 wide for the first time. Biffle to the inside of Kyle Petty and Ricky Rudd. 3 wide at Indianapolis. Contact into the wall. Ricky Rudd got sandwiched by Kyle Petty. Biffle overdrives turn 4. But because of the contact with the 2 cars behind him... Oh, Rudd in the wall again. And again making contact with the 45 in the process. Those 2 were stuck together like glue. Making contact with each other in 3 and 4 and then into the wall. And then Rudd bounced into the wall himself off the exit of turn 4. And Petty got a piece of the left rear again. So we continue to stay green. We almost saw our second caution of the race. Biffle's going to be patient. He's in 29th. He knows the rest of the field's going to have to pit in about another 15 laps. He'll get to the lead eventually. He's not going to be able to just drive his way up there. Don't want to risk wrecking the car, especially after going 3 wide that last lap. And it worked for Biffle. He got through there cleanly, but the 2 cars to his outside, on the other hand, you can't say the same for. Nemechek going wide. I guess Biffle will make a pass on Nemechek for position. Clear for 28. Right back to Paul Menard, who qualified in the top 10. Get hard for Menard down the chat, or you can get stiff for the Biff. Either or works. A lot of traffic, too, in front of the 16. See both Marlin and Green, 2 of the 3 cars who were involved in that first accident of the day at lap 28. Pretty big stack up on the front stretch. Menard's going down to block the 16. He's just going to get out of the gas and let Menard make that block. It was either put it in the wall or let Menard go, and Biffle decided to just let Menard go. In all fairness, though, for Paul Menard, he did have a big run himself on the 176, so I think that's why he's trying to keep the 16 behind him. Joshua Rumsey is choosing stiff for the Biff. Oh, okay, so we have some cars pitting at lap 39, it seems like. It's not expecting anybody to pit that early. Ryan Newman will take over the race lead, so I wonder if Jeff Gordon might be on pit road. That was a big moment there for Greg Biffle. Massive moment. He is able to catch the race car, luckily. Contact with Ricky Craven. Guess Biffle might get to the lead even sooner than what he originally thought. The problem is, though, this is a 2.5 mile racetrack, so he's not going to be able to lap the field staying out of the pits. He may lap some cars, but he's definitely not going to lap the whole field. A lot more cars pull onto pit road that time by as well. Biffle to the inside of Sterling Marlin, leaving the bottom lane open. Biffle clear off turn 2. Thinking of putting Biffle in the lineup this week. That would be bold. Team's had some mechanical failures in 2 of the races they've ran this year. 2 of the 2. It's a little too risky. I mean, he did have pretty good speed during speed weeks at Daytona. It's just when the 500 rolled around that team couldn't run 25 laps without having an issue under the hood. Pass on Jeff Green for 10th place for Greg Biffle. Kevin Harvick is now the 3rd different leader in this race today during the green flag pit stops, as Ryan Newman had pit that last time by. Biffle under the 176. Made the pass. Vickers hugging the bottom. And that will be because he is pitting this time. Harvick stays out again. Vickers came in. I think Vickers was the only car in front of Biffle that pit that time, so Biffle is in 7th. When do I see Chase Elliott getting his first win? I say next week at COTA. That's definitely going to be his best opportunity. He won there last year. He seems to be really, really good on new road courses. Winning 2 of the first 3 races at the Roval. He won at Road America, first race back there since the 50s. Obviously COTA, Daytona road course, so he wins at a lot of the new road courses, and it's only the 2nd race at COTA, and the first one was in the rain, so it might be the first one in dry conditions. I'd say Elliott is definitely the favorite. I know in my preseason prediction video I had him winning Phoenix this last weekend. I think I had him winning COTA as well. Greg Biffle to the lead for the first time today. Again, he pitted during the caution at lap 28. Everybody else stayed out of the pits. Biffle should still be in the window to make it on just 2 more pit stops in today's race. As is the rest of the field. And everybody currently is on the lead lap still. Which again, I kind of figured was going to be the case with it being a 2.5 mile racetrack. Now they have a little bit fresher tires than Biffle, so outside of the cars at the very back of the field that are slower, it's going to be hard for Biffle to put a lot of cars a lap down here, especially considering the fact he'll have to end up pitting eventually himself anyway. Should be able to go to around lap 78 before pitting, barring another caution. First yellow of the day was when Sterling Marlin, Jeff Green got together off the exit of turn 1. making contact in the short chute, getting squeezed into the wall, and Brendan Gaughan was also involved in that accident, piled into the back of the 43 car. Yeah, I mean, that's not even a... I'm not going to debate that one at all. Chase Elliott being a must-have on a road course for fantasy purposes. It's a no-brainer. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. There's one less road course race than last year. Last year there were 7. This year there's 6. Because they're not running at the Daytona road course. I guess last year, out of technicality, there was 8, considering they ran the Busch Clash on the road course at Daytona as well. So if you count that, there was 8 last year. This year there's 6. All the same ones from last year, minus the Daytona road course. And obviously the Busch Clash was at the LA Coliseum this season as well. Yeah, 147 still to the outside of Greg Biffle into turn 1. Biffle now clear, and he has lapped his first car of the race. Now, versus whoever has a clean air in second place right now, Biffle's at a disadvantage as far as his race lead goes. And it'll be interesting to see where he'll cycle out of the pits if he does have to make a stop under green flag conditions. Trying to rattle Steve Thomas's cage. I think the wildcard race of the season is going to be at Gateway. I think any race could be a wildcard race considering how the next-gen car is driven on the intermediates, really. I don't think there's going to be like one particular wild card race. I think we can legitimately see anybody win anywhere. I know it's like that on any given Sunday anyway, but I'd say even more so this season. A little bit of contact with Steve Thomas. First in turn 3 and now in turn 4. Biffle to the inside of Russell Jackson, the 142 car. Biffle clear off the exit of turn 1. Big block by Jackson on Thomas. It feels still a little on the loose side. It's not as bad as what it was before. But he's still a bit loose. Loose is fast if he can hold on to it. The main thing is the downforce on the straightaways. Get up to these high speeds, it's really hard to hold that straight line. That's probably where Biffle's struggling the most. If he gets too out of shape down the straightaway or finds himself at an awkward angle, that's what the entry to turns 1 and turns 3 are going to end up equating for him. Already 2 tough corners as it is on the racetrack. But instability down the straightaway is only making it even harder. Now the good thing is with this pit strategy is that Biffle's got a good shot of potentially leading the most laps today on Jeff Gordon, considering the fact that Gordon led 38 laps before pitting at lap 39 and giving the lead to Ryan Newman for a few laps, who then gave the lead to Kevin Harvick for a few laps, before now Biffle leads. Already more lead changes in tonight's race than what we saw at Bristol last night. Just based off of the pit strategy alone. Side by side in front of the Biff. 122 and the 22. Biffle to the inside of the 22 car of Wimmer. The 122 to the inside of Kyle Petty in the 45 as well. Biffle gonna follow him. Sorry, that's the 133 car in front of Greg Biffle, not the 122. Wimmer as well to the inside of Kyle Petty in the 45. As they battle for the free pass position. The 122 is actually the next lap car in front of the 133. I don't know if we'll see pack racing for the entire race tomorrow. I think for the most part we will. I don't think that part of it's going to be any different from Daytona and Talladega. But the pack racing that we're going to see is not going to be like Daytona and Talladega, in my opinion, tomorrow. You're not going to be seeing 3, potentially 4 wide. It's just not going to happen. The track's too narrow. It's going to be mainly side by side, I would probably think. By the way, they are 3 wide into turn 3. Second time we've seen that today. That one worked out a lot better than what it did before. And Kyle Petty and Ricky Rudd were making contact with one another on multiple occasions. But yeah, I can pretty much guarantee that it's not going to look like Daytona and Talladega. You're very rarely going to see 3 wide. I feel like restarts probably going to be about the only way you're going to see 3 wide. It's just too narrow. It's too easy to block the run if you're the leader to the outside. And that's even if they're side by side, I feel like it's going to be easy to block the run on the outside as well. If you're looking at an overall team to run well, I say look out for Hendrick Motorsports tomorrow. I know they haven't really had the same speed as the Fords in recent years on the super speedways, but they qualify really well in the super speedways. So if qualifying doesn't get washed out tomorrow, which I don't think it's supposed to rain the rest of the weekend at Atlanta, so the Cup Series should have at least 1 practice and then qualifying. What I'm thinking is they all qualify towards the front of the field. They try to work together from the start, just like you see teams always try to work together, and teammates and manufacturers work together in the super speedways. They get 3 or 4 of them in a line at the beginning of the race, at least for stage 1. Good luck getting around them. On that narrow of a track, good luck. If Hendrick qualifies at least 1, 2, 3 in qualifying tomorrow, I'm guaranteeing a Hendrick car wins stage 1. I guarantee it. From then on, we'll have to see. Pit stops will obviously be a major factor, but at least early and for stage 1, that's my bold prediction. Hendrick car is going to end up winning it if they qualify at least 1, 2, 3. which I'll have more on that in my predictions video, obviously, after qualifying and practice tomorrow. Never thought I'd see a restrictor plate racing at Atlanta. I don't think anybody did. One car blowing up down on the bottom of the racetrack, and it is Tony Stewart, one of the favorites. Our Daytona 500 winner has blown an engine in the Brickyard 400 and at his home track nonetheless. Two-time winner of this race in 2005 and 2007. Of course, we are in the 2004 running right now, so he has never won the Brickyard 400 to this point, and he will still have to wait. Get that first Brickyard 400 victory. What a tough break for Tony Stewart. He was in the top 10 most of the day also. But he has made it to the pit lane, and unfortunately, I believe he's the first driver out of the race today as well. So Tony Stewart not only going to have a bad finish, but he's going to finish dead last. He never led any laps today either, so no bonus points. Heartbreak for Tony Stewart in tonight's running of the Brickyard 400. I think Toyota will kick it around eventually. It's going to be a matter of how far into the season will we go before that, and will that affect guys like Hamlin and Bell, who are really far behind in points, if they can't get a win. That was a bold move by Ward Burton to cut down in front of Jimmy Lane in the 169 to get underneath the 32 of Ricky Craven for position. It looks like it's going to work. Biffle to the inside of Craven as well to try and put him a lap down. We'll have 100 laps to go this time by in the Brickyard 400. Oh, contact. I would agree with you on that statement. Truex and Busch are doing really good on points right now. I think they're both in the top 10. I know Truex is in the top 5. Busch is pretty darn close. Big block by the 169. Jimmy Lane. Looks like he gets around the 0 of Ward Burton. Greg Biffle still following him for right now. Burton drops in line behind race leader Greg Biffle into turn 4. Biffle to the outside of Lane. He's going to get stuck on the outside. Ward Burton drives underneath him. For right now, Biffle hanging on. Paul Menard to the outside lane now as well. This is a very tight position for Greg Biffle to be in. I don't think he likes it. I don't know if anyone would like the outside at Indy. He's been up there for, it'll be a full lap off the exit of turn 4. Very close to making contact with either Jimmy Lane or Ward Burton down on the bottom. He's just going to let him go. Smart move by the race leader. He didn't want to risk anything too far. He was on the outside for nearly a full lap at Indy before just letting the 169 and then the 0 of Ward Burton get back by. 98 laps to go. He wants to keep this race car clean. He's going to want a shot at kissing the bricks today. Contact between Jimmy Lane and Paul Menard off the exit of turn 1. Same spot that we saw that crash earlier with Sterling Marlin, Brendan Gaughan, and Jeff Green. Biffle to the inside of Burton. Touches the curbing a little bit, gets good turn in the race car. Burton again, a lap down for the meantime. Menard has a run. He's going to look to the outside. Lane's going to try to give it to him, but now he's going to throw the block at the last second. Biffle all sorts of out of shape. Into turn 1 again. Menard leaves the bottom open into turn 2. Side by side into turn 3. Menard up high, Biffle down low. Biffle clears Menard. Ward Burton trying to get to the inside of the 33 car into turn 4. He's there. Biffle down on the bottom. So is Jimmy Lane to try and block. Biffle trying to back turn 1 up so he can try to beat Lane back to the gas. Lane goes wide. Turn 2. Biffle just cannot get around him. Trying to intimidate Lane, that didn't work either. Biffle with a gigantic bounce off the curb. Shifted him up pretty wide in the center of turn 1. Lane is holding on for dear life. He wants to hold on to this lead lap as long as he possibly can. I think Biffle's finally underneath him down the back straightaway. Lane threw a pretty mean block. Still side by side into turn 3. Biffle trying to keep it off the curb because if he would have hit that curb, he probably would have bounced right into the side of the 169 car. And he's off the curb in turn 4. He holds on to it somehow, some way. Lane pinched him, and again, Jimmy Lane holds on to the lead lap. Ward Burton trying to look to the outside of Biffle to get his lap back. Not going to happen. Biffle with a block. Burton nearly into the back of the 16 car into turn 1. This is obviously holding Biffle up. He got Lane loose, but Biffle had to check up in turn 2 as well just to make sure he wasn't going to run into the back of Jimmy Lane. And yes, Michael Turner does mention the DNFs are on like always. Biffle loose. Once again. He's got a quarter tank of gas left yet. He's going to try to draft off a Lane down on the bottom. Lane went low to try and break the draft. Onto the main straightaway. Biffle going to go wide. He's going to try to arc the corner off into turn 1. Nope, not going to get him there either. Jimmy's just hoping for a caution. I'm talking about hard to pass at Indianapolis. This is textbook hard to pass. If hard to pass was in the dictionary, Jimmy Lane would be the picture. Oh, he's loose! Off of turn 4. Biffle got into the back of him, though. That stalled his run out. And that's going to allow Ward Burton to get to the outside of the 16. And he passes him. No, he's not clear, though. He had a chance. He had a chance. But he couldn't clear the 16 in time. Biffle holds on. And now Biffle's got some drafting help on the bottom lane. Ward Burton goes with him. Burton knows that if Biffle could get around Jimmy Lane quick enough and Burton can stay behind him on the inside, then Burton can take over the free pass position. Finally, Biffle gets around Jimmy Lane with the help from the 0. And Ward Burton is still side by side with Lane. He's not clear yet. Biffle pulling up. Lap 70 at the line. 91 laps to go. Burton has finally cleared Jimmy Lane into turn 2 for the free pass spot. Biffle is going to end up pitting very soon. Caution would trap a probably about a dozen or so cars a lap down. That'd be about it. None of the contenders, really. Ward Burton driving hard. Into turn 3. He's trying to get around Biffle. Not going to happen. Biffle holds on. Barely. Mr. Clean Crew has made one stop today. They did not make any mistakes. The only thing is, it was not only under caution, but they were the only car to pit during that caution flag. And that was back at lap 28. Bounce off the curb in turn 4. Jimmy Lane, by the way, has lost pace of both Ward Burton and Greg Biffle in front of him. That's probably why he was trying to hang on for dear life as long as he was, because he knew he wasn't going to have the speed to even keep up with Ward. Again, the best thing for him, though, is being he didn't get that caution where he wanted to. Now he's hoping it stays green long enough for when Biffle pits, and then he'll get back on the lead lap. In fact, everybody on the track will get back on the lead lap once Greg Biffle makes his green flag stop, which he would be, again, the first car to pit for the second time today, but it'll be his first green flag stop versus everybody else pitted under green flag conditions. There should still be a one-stopper to the end. After Greg Biffle pits this next time. It's 2 stops right now, but it'll be 1 stop after this one coming up in a couple of laps. Joe Nemechek making a pass on Robbie Gordon in the 31. Biffle trying to side draft Gordon. Robbie using the outside lane, drafting help with Joe Nemechek. Biffle still underneath him, though, into turn 3. Biffle also now underneath Joe Nemechek in the 0-1. Oh, contact with Nemechek. He's in the wall off turn 4. Unless he saved it from hitting the wall. It's tough to tell for sure. There's no way he kept it off the wall, that awkward angle. We stay green. And Robbie Gordon's in the free pass position now because of that contact between the 16 and the 0-1. And Ward Burton's going to get around Nemechek as well. So Nemechek loses 2 positions and a lap with that contact. Gone almost 50 laps on fuel. Yes, we have. I feel like we have burned more fuel this time, though, than what we did during that first run earlier in the race. I don't think we're quite going to make it 50 laps, considering we restarted at lap 31. We'd have to make it to lap 81. I don't think Biffle's got that much fuel. Nor is he going to try to even push it. Don't want to run out of gas on a 2.5 mile oval. You're never going to make it back to pit road. Unless you run out somewhere close to turns 3 and 4. But the likelihood of that happening would be slim to none. And even then, you'd make it into the pits, but you'd still lose a bunch of time. Everybody able to keep up their 190 mile an hour corner entry speed while you're coasting it. Greg Biffle will pit this time. Lap 76. It'll be 4 tires and fuel for the 60. No adjustments this stop. Unlike the first stop of the day, got to make sure he doesn't speed, and that was close, but he is not caught. Not caught for speeding. 4 tires and fuel. Again, no adjustments for the 16 this time. That was really, really close. He's had a couple speeding penalties this year. They're both at Talladega on another track a little bit longer than 2.5 miles, and like this one, 2.5 miles. That was a close call. Now it's time for the Mr. Clean crew to go to work. And where will Greg Biffle cycle out of the pits? There go the leaders. He's going to be well behind him. Jeff Gordon back in the lead, no surprise. Been right up there, right around the most laps led. Pretty close between Biffle and Gordon now. Biffle getting loose on that access road, trying to get up to speed. Eight and a half seconds right now between first and then Greg Biffle cycled out in 12th. He gets up to speed, about 8.6 seconds off the race lead, so he's got a lot of catching up to do. Jeff Gordon now the one with the clean air. Still have just over half the race to go, and again, Biffle only has to pit one more time. The rest of the field is still going to have to pit twice. If this actually plays green to the end, I think this is playing right into Greg Biffle's favor. As long as he doesn't blow what he had at one point, a 35.8 second lead, then if this stays green, it's Biffle's race to lose. Another reason why maybe he shouldn't be as aggressive in lap traffic going forward. And we have some more cars pitting all of a sudden. So Biffle pit. Now we have some drivers short pitting at lap 78 for their second stop of the day. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now will take over the race lead, so Jeff Gordon pit that last time by. Took over the lead briefly. Fifth different leader of the race now would be Dale Jr. He is second in points, so as long as he leads back to the start-finish line this time, that'll be 5 bonus points for Junebug. Trying to have himself a solid points day. Newman comes into the pits that time. He's led some laps today. Dale Jr. stayed out, so he did lead that last lap. Biffle on fresher tires has a run to the back of Vickers. He does not pull out of line to make the pass. Lap car coming out of the pits. That's the 77 of Brendan Gaughan. He pulls right in between Vickers and Biffle. Biffle checked up to let him in. And Vickers maybe coming into the pits this time. He was pretty low down the back straightaway. Biffle didn't have a major run on him. Oh, never mind. He's wide, though, off turn 4. More of the top 10 on pit road. We are halfway home here today at the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I know, I was a bit swirly. I think I actually tagged the wall with the left rear corner panel. Slightly. I was coming out of the pits. He's throwing some big blocks right now on Greg Biffle. Biffle trying to pass him for position. He's underneath him in the short chute of turns 3 and 4. Vickers will stay in front. Biffle had that bounce off the curb and it allowed Vickers to win the race back to the throttle. So it sounds like Tony Stewart will be coming back into the race after dropping an engine and dropping a cylinder earlier on. He was blowing up smoke. So he will be a slow car that the leaders are going to be catching the rest of this race. That's going to be interesting. We've seen that in Busch and Cup Series races so far this season. Apologize for calling. I tried to sweep it under the rug. You're good. It's because you have to use the access road because there's grass. Man, Vickers squeezing Biffle. I think Vickers is trying to get to the bottom so he can pit this time. That's my explanation. I don't know why he just ran right in the side of Biffle in the middle of turn 4. Well, it hurt Vickers a lot more than it hurt the 16. Matt Kenseth leads now. 6th different leader today. Kevin Harvick back in the lead now for the 2nd time. He was one of the last cars to pit during green flag pit stops last go-around. There's still 2 more cars in front of Greg Biffle that have to pit. Obviously, Harvick is one of them. I'm not sure who the other is. Mark Martin going to let his teammate Greg Biffle get on by. Biffle as well to the inside of the 41 of Mears. Now, these guys are a lap down right now, and they will remain a lap down once Biffle takes over the lead, at least those who are getting passed by the 16. Terry Labonte would eventually be the last car in the lead lap. Yeah, but anyway, what I was going to say about the access road, on any track in this game that I try to take it, This game is so bad with if you drive or even touch the apron, you get really loose, especially if you have all 4 tires on there, and the same goes for the excess road. So you have to really kind of creep without it getting any sort of sideways, and that definitely wasn't perfect, as you guys saw. At least I didn't wreck. That was the big thing. Would have been terrible if I wrecked doing that. Still one more green flag stop left in this race yet too, so Biffle's going to have to do that one more time, unless he ends up pitting under caution, depending on how many laps we're going to have left if we do see another yellow. Biffle's less than 5 seconds behind Harvick. Will Harvick pit this time by? And it looks like he is. So the 29 on pit road. And second place goes with them. Greg Biffle back in the lead for the second time tonight in the Brickyard 400 at lap 86. 75 laps to go currently in this race. Time for our trivia question of the night. Our Brickyard 400 trivia stat you guys get to answer down in the chat below. Tonight's going to be an easy one. We've had some difficult ones over the last few nights, so tonight's going to be pretty easy. Only one time Dodge went to victory lane in the Brickyard 400. Who won and what year? That is our trivia question for tonight's Brickyard 400 on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Again, Dodge went to victory lane once in the Brickyard 400. Who was the driver and what year was it? Pretty easy question, I feel. Most of you guys are probably gonna get it. And I'll give you guys to lap 100 to try and figure that out, unless you end up getting it beforehand. I would imagine you guys are going to get it beforehand. Guess you never know. Well, they didn't have to wait long. Joshua Rumsey has already answered it correctly down in the chat. Bill Elliott, 2002, is the correct answer. 9 car for Evernham Motorsports. The only Dodge to go to victory lane in the Brickyard 400. Pretty wild if you think about it. 28 races at Indianapolis in the Cup Series. 27 on the oval, 1 on the road course, and only 1 Dodge went to victory lane. Obviously, Dodge is not a manufacturer in the sport, at least currently, and hasn't been since 2012. As far as the Cup Series is considered and concerned. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream. R6R6, welcome as well. Yeah, I figured I'd give you guys an easy one. I found that interesting, though, that all those races, though, Dodge only went to victory lane once in the Brickyard 400. And it was Bill Elliott driving a Dodge, nonetheless, towards the end of his career. End of his full-time Cup Series career, at least. That would have been the 9th running of the Brickyard 400. Of course, again, this is the 11th running, taking place in our 2004 season. Jeff Gordon's looked pretty fast here today. Probably the best car in the field. Nobody has passed him except for during green flag pit stops and on pit cycle. But in a racetrack that involves a lot of track position games, this is going to be a major one for the 16 of Greg Biffle. Is if we see a caution, when will it fly? Will it be when Biffle is leading? Or is it going to be when he is back in traffic after making a green flag pit stop? It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. So we have 70 laps to go this time by. Because Biffle's only led laps virtue of this strategy by more than 30 seconds. He pitted during the only caution we've had so far tonight, back at lap 28. Nobody else pitted during the caution, so it's kind of off strategy right now, but compared to the rest of the field, who have been pitting roughly seems to be every 38 to 43 laps into a run. We're seeing everybody else pit. Biffle's been able to go pretty close to 50 laps. I think 50 would be the absolute max he could go. To play it safe, 48 would probably be the safe play. So I don't think he's going to be pitting right when we hit 50 laps to go by any means in this one. And I don't think he's going to pit until he needs to again anyway, just in case we do see a yellow. And again, he'll try to figure out if he stays out, keeping the track position, or if he pits during the caution flag again. I think Biffle's coming up on Tony Stewart pretty soon, who's holding up Ricky Rudd down the back straightaway. Again, Tony Stewart came out of the pits after blowing an engine earlier. And actually, no, it's Jamie McMurray in the 42. 3 wide, by the way. Rudd was in the middle, so I guess the 42 car blew an engine earlier in the race. I did not see that. I only saw Tony Stewart blow an engine. So I guess McMurray's out there. Wonder if he blew an engine before Stewart, and that's why he's back on the track trying to get around the 20. Casey can't finish second in 2005 to Stewart. That is true. I love that paint scheme, by the way. He ran that race. I believe that was the one with, it was all white, but it had like the red stripes going over the hood. Basically over the whole race car. It was over the hood, on the roof, all the way to the tailgate. Or the deck lid, I guess. Down to the bottom, trying to break whatever draft he can on Ricky Rudd, who was the first driver 1 lap down as of right now. Rudd's got a pretty big run into turn 2. Not going to be able to get around the 16. He's able to keep up with the draft. And he's got a little bit fresher tires, considering Biffle pit before him. So that's also helping Ricky. He may still be on the lead lap if it wasn't for Jamie McMurray holding him up on the back straightaway, allowing for Biffle to make that 3 wide pass. Inverse of his red car. He ran it in more races than just that Brickyard 400 that year. That's probably my favorite Casey campaign scheme of all time. Probably my favorite Evernham paint scheme of all time, to be completely honest. They didn't have many, though. Talk about these throwback schemes every time they go to Darlington. I want to see a throwback scheme of that one. Just kind of feeling the race car out right now. And logging in more laps led on the season as well for Greg Biffle. And hopefully going to try to lead the most laps today with this pit strategy. He's got to be pretty close, if not ahead of Jeff Gordon by at least a little bit. Gordon led the first 38 laps of the race, though, at the same time. And he's really only led a couple laps since then because of green flag pit stops. So he's probably right around 40 laps led. Maybe a little bit more than that. Where Greg Biffle in the 16 would have led from about lap 44-ish to lap 76, which would probably be right around 30 laps. So then he just took the race lead again at lap 86. He's led for about another 10 laps. So Biffle's probably sitting at about 50 laps led, give or take. And then Gordon's sitting at probably just over 40 laps led. So it's pretty close as of right now, but considering Biffle could go a ways before having to pit if we stay green, that's where that number is really going to increase in Biffle's favor as far as trying to race for the most laps led. Another car blowing up on the inside of the racetrack. It looked like the 133. One of the generator drivers, Randy Norton, has blown an engine. He'll try to limp it back to pit road. And hopefully he can make it there. Still on the back straightaway. He is creeping. His cars are blowing around him at over 190 miles an hour. Problem, there was no apron down the backstretch he could have used. The risky thing is if we end up seeing that on the front straightaway, because the front straightaway is not only shaded, but there's an inside wall there too. I remember back on NASCAR Thunder 2004, we had a nasty crash early in the race. In the Brickyard 400, we were 3 wide. We were only on like 3 or 4 laps into the race. So everything was kind of bunched together, the double file start. We were 3 wide on the bottom. And out of nowhere, a car blew up on the inside lane on the front stretch, and we piled right into the back of him. It was the most insane crash. It was a nasty crash. It was realistic in the aspect that that's something that could happen, theoretically. Would they have stayed green if that would have happened? Probably not, but if you're 3 wide, still trying to back it down, you still could have clobbered a car. Especially in that day where you had to race back to the start-finish line, so I guess it could have happened regardless. But it was green flag conditions. I didn't see him until we hit him. It was I've never had that even in a video game before. Usually it's like you see him wrecking or you see him sitting there at least moments before you hit him. In this case, it was like maybe 2 seconds before, or not even 2 seconds. It was like a millisecond to just, oh shoot, there's a car, and by the time like you couldn't even finish the sentence, and I just slammed right into the back of him. And obviously collected like half the field because we were mid-pack, and so hopefully that doesn't happen today. It might be a little harder with things spread apart as long as it's not going to end up being on a restart. So we have seen a few drivers blow an engine today. Norton was able to get to pit road a couple laps ago, so we continue to stay green. We'll have 60 laps to go this time by. We'll have 100 laps complete at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Greg Biffle holding on to a 33-second lead. Easily a one-stop race to the finish. I pretty much watch any sports. When I was younger, I would literally hang on, hold that thought for a second. Jamie McMurray holding up Rusty Wallace, getting into turn 1 and most of the way down the front straightaway, and he is down a cylinder or 2. Wallace finally able to get around him as he barely stays in front of Ricky Rudd. Greg Biffle was able to barely sneak by both McMurray and Wallace. So Rusty Wallace is now the first car 1 lap down on Rudd. But anyway, what I was saying was that I pretty much watch any sport. But usually when I'm watching other sports, I'm only watching my teams. At least now. Like, I used to keep up with pretty much the entire league in every sport, including NASCAR. But Now it's just primarily NASCAR. I think a lot of it has to do with just having this YouTube channel. It's hard for me to do this on the side of also working and trying to keep up with everything. I keep up with my teams, though. I'm very in tune with the Green Bay Packers, Tigers, any sort of like moves that they make. But as far as like the league as a whole, I lose stuff. Football I can usually keep good track of, and I think a lot of that's because I play fantasy football, so I kind of have to keep track of it. But pretty much any other sport, like I'll watch hockey, I'll watch basketball, I'll watch baseball. But I usually only watch my teams. Like I've watched probably 5 or 6 Red Wings games this year. If I get done streaming and they're playing like an 8 o'clock game or something, I can catch like the final 2 periods. I've watched a handful. I mean, I went to a Red Wings game earlier this year too. Saw them play Boston. They lost 7-1, but hey, I got to see them play at least once this year. It's been a couple years because of COVID and everything, so it was nice to go out and see a hockey game again. I'm pretty up to date with pro wrestling too. At least with WWE. I watch a little bit of AEW. I don't really watch it live. Like, I'll watch highlights of it and stuff and somewhat keep up with it, but for the most part, on the WWE side of things. I hear you. It's not that I mean, I guess you could say it's a distraction because of this, but I love doing what I'm doing. I love being able to talk NASCAR with you guys practically every day with somebody, because in my daily life, I don't really get that. So between that and obviously commentating, that's what I love to do. That's what I would love to do for a dream job. So working on that pretty much on the side of already working 40 hours a week full time outside of this. When it's warmer outside, I'm golfing, I'm working out. I still find a way to get a 45-minute to an hour workout in every 6 days a week. Not quite every day, but 6 days a week. Try to give myself one rest day. Usually it's on a work night though. It's typically on Wednesdays. I would assume we're going to be seeing some drivers pit as soon as the window opens to the end of the race. The likelihood of seeing a caution is probably going to be a lot slimmer now with the field is spread apart, really, compared to what they have been all day long. This is the most spread apart it's been. By far the longest of the 2 green flag runs. Again, we went 28 laps before the first yellow, and we haven't had one since, so it's been about 80 laps. 75 to be exact since the restart. Coming up on almost 2 full fuel runs for Greg Biffle here shortly. Yeah, for sure. I would love to be able to have that, like, deep discussions of NASCAR with somebody. Like, even my immediate family, I can't really do it. My grandpa's the only one, really, that I can. And that's why I do try to make an initiative to... Well, I don't just try. I do make an initiative to at least see a handful of races with him every year, so... Still going to be doing that this year, so there's... I believe 4 weeks I'm not commentating a race, but I'm also not going to be there in person. That would be why. Cup Series side. But I think I'm doing Xfinity or truck races those weekends, though, too. So even though I'm not doing the Cup race on those weekends, I probably the night before doing the Xfinity race when I get off of work and then just going over for the Cup race. He's a Blaney fan, too. There you go. At least I can agree with him on that. Yeah, my friend's birthday was yesterday, so hey, I didn't even go golfing yesterday. Kind of wanted to. I'm definitely golfing in Atlanta, though. I am definitely golfing in Atlanta where it's warm. It's cold again here. I could have actually got a practice round in before this weekend, too. Yeah, from now to the time I get back, I don't think it's supposed to be above 60 here, at least in the forecast, at least through next week's. It's supposed to be like the mid-50s a couple days. Which, as long as it's not super windy, those will be potential days to golf, depending on rain. First episode of the podcast is right before the Clash. Seth Thomas, welcome to the stream. Just won the Daytona 500 on NASCAR Heat Evolution over Ryan Blaney by 1 inch. That's awesome. We haven't had like a photo finish or side-by-side finish in a really long time on the channel. Coming back up on Jamie McMurray for the third time already since McMurray came out of the pits. McMurray staying down low. Biffle went to the outside to get around him. Had to lift off the exit of turn 4 just to keep it off the wall with how wide he went. McMurray holding the inside after Dale Jarrett had gotten around him. 50 laps to go in the Brickyard 400 as Greg Biffle has a little less than a 32.5 second lead. Everybody in the field has made 2 pit stops so far today. Biffle has made 2 under green. The rest of the field... Or sorry, Biffle has made 3 stops today. The rest of the field has made 2 under green. Biffle pitted during that first caution back at lap 28, so that's why he has as big of a lead as he does. Or yeah, I was kind of right the first time. I was wrong the second time, and I was wrong the first time. Everybody has made 2 stops in this race. Biffle's made 1 under the caution at lap 28. We haven't had a caution since. His second stop was under green, so because he has only made 1 green flag stop, the rest of the field stayed out of the pits at the lap 28 caution. Therefore, they've had to make 2 green flag stops. That is why Biffle has about a 32-second lead. And everybody still has to pit 1 more time to the end. Don't have photo finishes as checkers or records. I typically race clean. I mean, we've had some good finishes, obviously, in recent streams. Get a last lap pass here and there. Like Darlington on this Cup Series season was the last lap pass on Harvick for the win. I'm trying to think if we've had any more on the Cup Series season for last lap passes. I know at Daytona we had a last lap pass for the win in the Busch Series race. Season opener. Past Dale Jr. in the last lap. I think those are the only ones I can think of, though. Where we made the last lap pass, at least. I mean, there's been some other drivers like the AI making last lap passes. Like in the Bud Shootout when we had the big one off of turn 4 and Jimmy Johnson won. Bobby Labonte flipped while leading. Still one of the most wild finishes we'll ever have on the channel. I don't know if we'll ever get that again. The best part is we got the race back to the line. In the current games now, the caution would come out and it would have froze the field. But in this, we would have been able to race back to the checker like we did. It was insane. Let's not have Kyle Busch win Atlanta. If it makes you feel any better, I've only seen Kyle Busch win one race in person. I've been to 29 Cup races. That was at Pocono in a fuel mileage race last year. So he doesn't seem to have great luck when I watch the races in person, if that makes you feel any better. I'm trying to think of the driver who I've seen win the most. I think it's Larson. And that's basically just between last year and this year. I've seen him win 5 times. And I'm trying to think of any other driver who I've seen win that many. I think maybe Chase Elliott. I think I've seen Elliott win 5 times also. I saw Elliott win Road America, Roval, Watkins Glen, Bristol All-Star Race. I think that's actually it. I think I've seen Elliott win 4 times. I've seen Bowman win 4 times. 3 last season, Martinsville, Pocono, Dover, and then his first ever race he won at Chicagoland in 2019. Greg Biffle to the inside of Dale Jarrett. And he'll put the UPS forward 1 lap down. Barely clearing him into turn 4. Yeah, so I see Hendrick Motorsports win a lot, by the way. Been to 29 races, and I've seen Chase Elliott win 4, William Byron win 4, or sorry, Chase Elliott win 4, Alex Bowman win 4, and I've seen Kyle Larson win 5. So of the 29 races I have been to in the Cup Series, that would make 13 of those 29 races. I've seen one of those 3 Hendrick cars win. I've only seen Blaney win once. He usually runs well when I see him in person, but I only saw him win once, and that was Michigan last year. Never forget it. Hopefully it's not the last time to see him win in person. It took a long time to get there, though. It took 25 races at the time. Or 24 races at the time. So driver short pitting now as the window again is open to the end of the race. Greg Biffle going to stay out just in case we get any cautions. And he'll pit during the yellow. Gonna race at Martinsville and suck. That's not the right attitude to have. Yeah, I haven't seen Byron win yet. I mean, he's only won 2 races. Both of them were in the state of Florida, which I've only been to once. That was the Daytona 500 this year. I was just crazy to think. You know, now I'm thinking about it, I think I've seen Keselowski win 4 times also. 2018 Indianapolis, 2019 Atlanta, 2021 Talladega. There's got to be another race I've seen him win. Maybe not. I've seen Harvick win a bunch, now that I think about it, too. So Harvick win the Southern 500. ...2020. I've seen him win at Michigan 4 times. Those would be the 5 races I've seen Harvick win. Actually, no. I think I've only seen Harvick win at Michigan 3 times. 2018 August, 2019 August. I guess that's it. Okay, never mind. Only 3 times. I had to have seen him win somewhere. Well, no, because 2020, I only went to 3 races, even though he won 9 that year. He won 1 of them I went to. Elliott won the All-Star race, and then Talladega, Hamlin won, so. Yeah, never mind. I hadn't the curb as much. Well, that's progress. You'll have that at Martinsville. "40 laps to go." And Biffle's just going to cruise to victory today if we don't get a caution. It looked like it was going to be potentially a costly error pitting under that caution at lap 28 when everybody else stayed out and he lost the track position. But considering we haven't had a caution since, and he was in the range to still make it on 3 stops even with that caution where it was, I mean, this is going to be a brilliant strategy for Greg Biffle. Lady luck on his side for sure if that ends up happening. Trying to think of drivers now that I'm thinking about it that I've only seen win once. Blaney, Kyle Busch, I believe Denny Hamlin. Just the once. Austin Cindric. I mean, Chris Buescher in the dual race. I'm counting that. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, I saw Keselowski win a dual race this year, so that's where I've seen him win 4 times. That's what I thought. That makes more sense now. Running pretty low on fuel. He's going to stay out this time by, and he'll pit at lap 124. It'll be 48 laps into the run at lap 124 for Biffle. Closing in on Jamie McMurray in the 42. 5 of Terry Labonte stuck. Nowhere for him to go. He'll lose another lap. As will McMurray. I saw Kenseth won the first ever race I went to, and that's the only time I saw him win. But it's also the only time I've gotten this. No, well, I guess I saw him race in 2018 a couple times too, because he ran part-time with Roush. But I never got to see him race in Roush equipment the first go-around when he was in the 17. And then that was the only race I saw him in the 20. It was Michigan 2015. He dominated that race. He had the fastest car all weekend, though. He qualified on the pole and everything. Biffle coming into the pits this time. Got to make sure he wasn't going to push it He almost sped the last time he made a green flag stop. He wanted to make sure he was going to be nowhere close to speeding this go around. No adjustments, 4 tires and fuel for the 16 crew. The third and final stop of the day for the Mr. Clean crew with 36 laps to go in the Brickyard 400. Yeah, so Kenseth once. I think I saw Truex win at Kentucky in 2018. I think that's the only race I've seen him win. I'll have to do a video on it sometime. My goal is when I see 36 races, which will be sometime this year, I kind of want to put out a video of like a playoff format of who would win the championship in a playoff format of all the races I've seen. I'd be willing to do a full points like that. I mean, it's going to be a long video to recreate because I'm going to have to literally go through race by race and get the points for every driver. It's going to be a video that's going to take a while, but I'd like to do it. Maybe I could do that with like multiple points formats too. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I guess I did see him race with Ganassi a couple times also. Just the 3 times that year. Biffle has about a 14.5 second lead, but I don't believe everybody has made their final pit stop of the race yet. Knowing how much track position means, Greg Biffle's going to stay out of the pits if we get another caution. Just hope that nobody pits behind him. We saw how much the track position worked out for Gordon earlier. The only thing is, though, is Gordon had equal tires as everybody else, though. Nobody's been on old tires in front of a pack of cars on restart because we've only had just the one caution. We never came into a circumstance like that, though we could see that late in this race, depending on what the strategy is by other drivers in the field. And maybe not everybody pits either. Maybe only some of them do. Another reason why Biffle just would not want to put himself back in traffic, especially this late in the race. He just clinched the most laps led that last time by to the start-finish line. So Greg Biffle has led the most laps today in the Brickyard 400. Now it's time for him to seal the deal and get the win. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for about the next dozen laps, one final time in tonight's race. Kenseth did nearly win that race. He was definitely in contention. By far the best run he had that year. I know you guys down in the comment section were predicting either 2 or 3 cautions. I don't think I saw anything more or less of the couple predictions early in the race for how many yellows we would see today. And so far, again, we've only seen the one at lap 28. We are 2 laps away from having a 100-lap green flag run in the Brickyard 400. So we went green from that yellow at lap 31. We're at lap 129 right now. 34-second lead. So now with Rusty Wallace coming out of the pits, I think he was the last car that still had to make a stop. He was hoping for a caution so he could get back on the lead lap. Instead, he is a lap down, but I believe he's the first car 1 lap down. So if he did get a yellow, he would get the free pass. That is awarded in the Cup Series in this game. But you also got to wonder, though, too, if we get a caution late in the race. Number one, if we get it late, and we have less than 10 laps to go on a restart, 10 or less laps to go on a restart, then it's a single file line and all the lap cars will be behind the lead lap cars. But if we have a restart with more than 10 laps to go, then all the lap cars will be on the inside of the lead lap cars. And on a track like Indianapolis, where the outside lane is not preferred, if you put all the fast and lead lap cars and stick them on the outside in the restart, that's going to get crazy. I'd imagine, especially down the back straightaway. Closing in on Jamie McMurray for the 5th time since he came out of the pits. Biffle will get around him in the short chute in turns 3 and 4. Can't tell who that is he was holding up. Biffle scraping the wall off turn 4. "29 laps left." It's the only bad thing with Indianapolis is the laps take a little. It takes a little bit of a ways, or a little bit of time to get one lap in here. About 51 to 52 seconds is kind of that range of lap time that Biffle's been in all day. So 29 laps to go. That's still a long time in this race for us to get a yellow. But again, as long as we don't get a caution, Biffle's got this race won. He's just praying at this point that it stays green. Get that first crown jewel win of his NASCAR Nextel Cup Series career, considering that this is only his 2nd season in the Cup Series. Got another lap car in front of him, and it's going to be a little while before he catches another one. He's had a lot of clean air since coming out of the pit lane. Honestly, if he leads every lap to the end of the race, he's going to be really close to 100 laps led in another race this season. Today, it's all based off of pit strategy, though. We'll never know who had a faster car between Biffle and Gordon if this race doesn't get another restart. But we know the 16 team will have won this race off of strategy, and they will have earned it, leading the most laps along the way. Why would you even bring that up, Michael? I've come nowhere close to hitting that wall all day today. Don't give me dramatic, not dramatic, traumatic moments in my brain when we did that back at Devil's Canyon. $25 to go this time by. Michael Waltrip in the 15 is the next car ahead of Greg Biffle. Anything can happen in a full race. That is very true. I mean, it might be easy for myself or for Greg Biffle, I guess, to get the win today if it stays green, but this is probably going to be the most snooze fest of a race I think we've ever had on the channel. It's up there. I guess it's on par for Indianapolis standards. Biffle to the inside of Michael Waltrip. Gonna let him cut back down in front of him. Five-second lead now for the Biff. Waltrip trying to block. He wants to hold on to the lead lap because even if he does get the free pass position, he would have to restart the tail end of the longest line on the restart. Whether it would be the inside or the outside. Waltrip is still top 10 in points. He's 7th in the point standings coming into this race today. Will be a third of the way through the points, or through the season, I guess, at the end of this race as well. So that's also something to kind of keep an eye on with this point standings. Drivers that have had great starts to the year that are in the top 10 right now, like Michael Waltrip, Elliott Sadler, who you probably wouldn't have seen later in the year. Rookie Casey Kane is sitting 8th in the point standings as well. How long are those guys going to be able to actually keep up the strong pace they've had so far this year? Biffle's just going to cut Waltrip a little bit of a break right now. He's not going to worry about trying to get around him anytime soon. Just right in line behind him. Working a little share draft, so maybe he can be allies with Waltrip in races going forward. Still have 4 more super speedway races left this season, so I guess it'd be alright to build an ally. Jamie McMurray in the 42. Holding up the 103, and Michael Waltrip checked up in the short chute of turns 1 and 2, so he's going to go lap down. Clay Dixon in the 103 car is now the last car in the lead lap. And that's who Biffle's going to draft with all of a sudden. Waltrip is the first car to lap down. Biffle didn't want to pass him. Kind of got forced out of his will by how much Waltrip checked up behind Jamie McMurray. Biffle overdrove turn 1 quite a bit. Yeah, that's another thing. Biffle, he's got a gigantic lead. There's no need to really press to pass these lap cars on a very treacherous and difficult racetrack to pass. Again, we've seen it all day. Been accidental contact a lot of the times that drivers have tried to pass one another in this one. Seen it from AI on AI, AI onto Greg Biffle, and Biffle onto the AI as well. 103's been leaving a lot of bottom open. Again, Biffle is not baited. Go back to the far chase cam for the final 18 laps of today's race. I will say that Waltrip seems a lot faster than Dixon. So he is definitely closing in. It's like the 142 car. Russell Jackson be the next car up ahead. He's already one lap down. And honestly, Clay Dixon might already be a lap down as well. I'm not entirely sure on him. I know for a fact Jackson's one lap down, and then Waltrip would only be one down behind. So he'd be the first car one lap down. Scrape into the wall for Biffle. Guess you'll have that. Scrape into the wall from time to time. Sitting in dirty air as much as Biffle has been. Walter gonna try desperately to try and get back on the lead lap. Biffle's going to just try to get around these two slower cars first. 15 laps to go at the start-finish line. He's assuming they're already a lap down. They're definitely holding Biffle up a little too much for Biffle's liking, even though he's got a big lead. And they'll give him plenty of room down to the inside as well. And Waltrip, first car, one lap down behind Biffle as he'll follow him. Passing both the 103 and the 142 as well. Got 8 people currently watching, 8 likes on the stream. We've had as many as 15 people watching tonight's stream at one point early in the race, but make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Currently watching the Brickyard 400 on the custom schedule season on the Cup Series side. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. 14 to go at the line. Biffle has dominated the race based off of strategy. That's the only reason he's got a 33.5 plus second lead. Just hoping it stays green to the end, basically, at this point. No, we'll be plenty good on fuel. We pit with 36 laps to go. We went 48 laps on the last run. So we're plenty good. We're about 12 laps to the good. .103 and the 142. Oh, both forward. I thought you were going to say that they were both already a lap down, which could have been the case. I think Biffle's still going to catch McMurray at least one more time, maybe twice. Just depends on when the next time he'll catch him will be. He's already passed him about 6 or 7 times in this one. All in the second half of the race. McMurray was down a cylinder, had blown an engine earlier. He He's trying to get around Tony Stewart for position, which I think he already has. And then there was somebody else, the 133, Randy Norton, also blew an engine, so he's trying to work his way past him as well. McMurray's in the top 20 in points. Not really one of the championship contenders, but you never know, though, I guess. Only a third of the way through the season after this one concludes tonight. Yeah, again, this is Biffle's race to lose. The way things have gone right now. He feels comfortable even with the restart that he's got the track position. It's just going to try to hold on for that first lap or two is going to be the hard part. It's going to be even harder, though, if they pit behind him. Biffle's definitely staying out. It's one of those things where it's if he pits and they all stay out, he's going to restart pretty far back in the field. Never going to have enough time, especially now that we only have 12 laps to go. We'd have even less than that by the time we would go green. Following a restart. Like Waltrip is within that drafting range of Biffle, though. Biffle stay behind those lap cars long enough. Yeah, halfway on fuel. 11.5 laps left for the Biff. Trying to get yet another win this year, but again, the first crown jewel win of Greg Biffle's young career, if he can do it today. Brian Vickers is the last car in the lead lap, and Jamie McMurray is holding him up through turn 1, into the short chute, and now into turn 2. Biffle almost gets into the back of Vickers, has to go down to the bottom. Vickers is going to go a lap down, and now Waltrip desperately is going to have to try to get around the 25. A little block. Vickers on the 15 of Waltrip. As they battle into turn 3, Vickers holds on. Waltrip gets tight in the dirty air behind the 25 car. So now Waltrip no longer the free pass car. Ten laps to go at Indianapolis. For this driver just in his second season, he's already the points leader coming into race 12. And he's trying to add a crown jewel victory to his name as well. Watching that battle for the free pass position out of the rear view of the Biff right now. Between Brian Vickers and Michael Waltrip. Waltrip looking low on the back straight away on Vickers. Into turn 3. Waltrip's there. They're side by side. Free pass goes away with 10 to go. Are you sure? I didn't even know that. Guess I haven't really paid attention to it ever. 9 laps left now. I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest. I don't even think Greg Biffle's going to catch another lap car the rest of this race. I think he will catch Jamie McMurray one more time, considering he caught him with 11 laps left still. I don't think he'll catch anybody else unless McMurray holds enough cars up ahead of him as well. 2004 rules, free pass goes away with 10 to go. I wonder how accurate that is in the game, though. If the game actually replicates that well. Something I'll have to try to remember if we do get another caution with less than 10 to go. Races going forward. We'll have to just go back through the full finishing results to see who the driver was obviously behind us at the time of the caution, and then where exactly they finished as far as laps down goes. Seven laps left for Biffle. Again, just a reminder, this is our final stream for the weekend, as I will be at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Cup Series race on Sunday. Race highlight video will be up Sunday night on the channel. Once I get back to the place I'm staying, that Sunday night I'll have it edited and should be uploaded Sunday night on the channel. Worst case scenario, Monday morning, but I know the internet's going to be good where I'm at, so it should actually be up on Sunday night. Predictions going to be up either Saturday night or Sunday morning, one or the other. So keep on the lookout for that. Make sure you have that notification bell on so you don't miss that upload as well. Post-race analysis, not sure exactly what day that will be out on. I would assume probably either Monday or Tuesday. Tuesday if I can't get it before I get home. Monday if I'm able to record Sunday night after the race and get everything edited. But I want to make sure I get the race highlight video out first, so that will definitely be the first of the uploads following the race. Definitely be on the lookout for some content from the Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend on the channel. And then again, the next live race commentary for an actual race will be at COTA next Sunday for the Cup Series. So not this Sunday, but the following Sunday at COTA. 5 laps to go at Indy. I don't know what just happened downstairs. It sounded like something broke. Dogs are barking. There's people home. I don't know what just happened. Did you guys hear that at all on the mic? That was loud. I'll have to check that out here soon. I don't know what happened. 4 to go this time by for Greg Biffle. Still 10 more miles away from victory lane, but he's got a gigantic lead, and we're far enough along where if we get a caution now, I think the race would end. If we get to 3 to go, the race would definitely end with a yellow. We had a caution with 5 to go in a Busch race, and we had a 1-lap shootout. I don't know what that would do with 4 to go. Nor do I want to find out. I think Jamie McMurray might be slowing down some cars up ahead once again. One car blowing up on the bottom of the racetrack. I think it was McMurray again. I could be wrong, but it looked like Jamie McMurray was blowing up. It's the second time he has had something go wrong with his engine today. If it was McMurray. If it wasn't, somebody either way blew an engine. But they were able to make it to pit road, so we stay green. And we have just less than 3 laps to go now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 11th running of the Brickyard 400. Two laps left for Greg Biffle. Top 5 at Auto Club. There you go. There's the consistency. And more of it coming tonight from Greg Biffle as well. White flag will be in the air this time by off of turn 4. There's a giant pack of lap cars up ahead. No cautions on the final lap. In a NASCAR EA Sports video game, and Jamie McMurray is still on the track, so he's the next car up ahead of Greg Biffle. Biffle gets around him in the short chute of turns 1 and 2, and that will be the last lap car Biffle catches today. So I wonder if we were going to catch him again. I wonder who that was that blew an engine then, just a couple laps ago. So in 2 races combined, between last night in the Food City 500 at Bristol and tonight in the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 1 combined caution. And 660 laps worth of racing. That's just insane. Off of turn 4, crowd on their feet. History. A new winner at Indianapolis. Greg Biffle will win the Brickyard 400. First career win at a Crown Jewel event for Greg Biffle as he wins the Brickyard 400 here today. And he gets to burn it down on the famed front stretch at Indy. We won't get to physically kiss the bricks today, but we'll do the burnout over the bricks because that's what every IndyCar fan loves when NASCAR comes to town. That's a joke. Hopefully no IndyCar fans take offense to this. I'm only doing it because I can't kiss the bricks. We'll just blame it on COVID like everything else. Greg Biffle with the win in the Brickyard 400. Well-deserved. Only 8 drivers finished on the lead lap today. And Dale Jarrett actually ended up catching up and passed Michael Waltrip and Brian Vickers late to not only get a top 10, but finish as the first car 1 lap down. Dale Jr. finishes in second. He's second in points going into this one. And he led laps during green flag pit stops earlier today as well. We had 8 lead changes, just the 1 caution. All the lead changes were simply because of green flag pit stops. We didn't have any passes for position on the actual racetrack itself. That's how much track position mattered today. Greg Biffle, though, will lead 110 of the 160 laps in today's race. Junior led 4. Harvick led 4 as well, finishing 3rd. Jimmy Johnson didn't lead any laps, finishing 4th. Ryan Newman led 2 laps. He rounds out the top 5. Elliott Sadler, another top 10 this season, finishing at 6th. Bobby Labonte in 7th. 8th place was Kurt Busch. Dale Jarrett 9th, as mentioned. Michael Waltrip, another top 10 as well, as he rounds out the top 10. Jeff Gordon finished 18th today. 39 laps led. They were the first 39 laps of the race. So I think he led the first 38 laps, then he led that 1 lap in the middle of green flag stops at about the midway point. That is crazy how far Gordon fell back, considering he had good speed. I think just once he lost that track position, he was never able to get it back. It's crazy he fell back to 18th. That's on speed, too, because he restarted in the lead. And he was one of the first cars to hit pit road every time, so that is really shocking he fell that far behind. The drivers who ultimately retired from this race due to engine failures would include Tony Stewart back on lap 57, which we saw. Andrew Hamilton, Randy Norton, who we also saw. Jeremy Lane blew an engine. Matt Kenseth blew an engine earlier in the race. He led 1 lap as well. Jamie McMurray blew an engine but came back out. And that's a lot of cars that McMurray had passed after blowing an engine in today's race. And then Casey Kane blew an engine with 4 laps to go that we saw there. So if you exclude McMurray, who finished the race 40 laps down, it looked like we had a total of 6 DNFs tonight. So that is going to wind up everything here tonight. There's Greg Biffle in victory lane at Indianapolis. I've always liked the Brickyard 400 trophy, by the way. It kind of stunk that they made a different trophy for the Verizon 200 last year, because I like the Brickyard 400. I like the big brick. I wish they could have at least kept the trophy the same for the Cup Series, but that's unfortunate. Oh well, hey, we got one today with Greg Biffle. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Again, I'll be at Atlanta this weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I won't be back until Monday night, so potentially the next stream is Monday night, depending on what time I get back. If it's not Monday, it'll be Tuesday. Keep an eye out in the community tab. I will keep you guys posted on Monday on whether I'll be streaming or not. And yeah, can't wait for this weekend. Race highlight video will be up on the channel this weekend. Predictions, post-race, and more covering the Atlanta race this weekend at the track. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.